Hi, and welcome to yet another fun episode of PPJ. My name is Pumla.
Woo!
The queen over there is
Prima.
And the king next to her is
Alan. Oh, no, Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
And our backup prince is
Bazi.
our backup princess, Zaidi. So today, how are you guys? Are you fine? Are you well?
We're
How are your
good.
It's
families?
Friday, we have booze. It's okay. All is good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're good.
Cheers.
We're
Thank you,
good.
Tasca.
We're going to see the thirstiest person in the group.
We're good. Hey.
Bear in mind, we've been drinking already, so.
No, just you. Us, we're good.
I thought we needed
So today's conversation is going to be centered around what we call mindset shift. And just so we are on the same level playing field, for context, mindset shift is a change in attitude, in perspective, or a way of thinking about certain aspects of life. Are we on the same page?
We're in the same
we are now,
page.
yeah.
So, like in a nutshell, for Dummies 101,
Mama.
it's what we know now. That if we had known in our younger years, we are sure our lives would have been easier navigated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about different aspects, but let's start with life in general. So what critical perspective of life would you encourage your younger selves to adopt? And younger selves can go from teenage years, or your 20s. We're all in our 30s.
Yeah.
Me being the one almost out of that.
Two, we are many.
Oh,
Have you seen how Joel is graying?
Friends, I was told gray hair is a sign of wealth and good looks. So I think I'm getting refined, don't you think?
I don't know.
Isn't this the most attractive I've ever been?
I don't
Be
know.
careful.
Please, let's answer. We told the people we are going
Anyway,
to
when I was
steer
younger, I'd have
Today we are going to try to be serious.
We are going to be serious. People, let's
I
answer
told you
that
today I'm an
question.
agent of chaos.
Pumla, remind us that what critical mindset?
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah.
critical perspective of mindset. Generally of life.
Yeah.
Would you encourage your younger selves to adopt?
Okay.
I think I would go back to when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I think I took things a little too deeply. I would feel people's energies.
As a teenager.
Yeah.
You say that again?
I used to feel people's energies. I used to feel a lot of responsibility for, let's say we're having a conversation.
F-I-double-L or F-double-E-L?
F-double-E-L.
Or to feel, okay.
Yes. So I would match my energy to the feeling in the
Okay,
room
okay,
because I think, without saying too much, I knew what it was like to be in a home of tension. So you have to be the one who has to release that tension. So it was always other people's feelings, and then I would process my feelings after.
Okay.
So whenever people are around me, they're like, oh, he's kawa, even when I'm not okay. And I think now I'd be like, no, it's okay to not be okay. And people are responsible for their feelings. Sometimes you might trigger them, sometimes you might cause pain, but if you think you're doing it for the right reasons or it's just an outcome, you can't take too much responsibility for how people feel. You can try to be kind, you can try to be empathetic, but if you're led around by them, they will take advantage of you without even knowing, because they also don't know that you're being affected. So I think it would be, it's okay. You don't have to be the Messiah. Don't try and make everyone feel okay.
I'm just trying to align that with your introvertedness. Because I know it's I don't know if it's introverts. Introverts don't match in a room.
Yeah, they
energy.
don't. They
like for
don't.
them, if they come and see you and your things are like staying away,
They
staying
go
away,
home.
staying away.
So I've always wondered about those things because anytime there are categories, I always find the exception in the category.
Yeah.
So I've never been able to place myself. All I think about being an introvert is the same thing of I need to be by myself to process how I'm feeling.
Okay.
Being around people it's a bit much. I'm feeling all the things they're feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that why whenever you have a meetup with someone, you always start with a disclaimer? But I have another thing, so I want to be there.
No, it's
for a
because I've
long time.
oversaid yes to many
This man,
things.
everything. They invite him. He always leads with, okay,
No, Pumla,
I'll
let's
come.
tell
What
the
time?
truth.
What time?
We invite
We invite, not only me. I used to
General.
think it was us until I realized he does it to everybody.
Okay.
He always leads with, there's a disclaimer that, but
Do you know
I
why
have to
that
leave by
disclaimer?
8.
Yeah.
I have to leave by 7.
Yeah.
So that just in case he's uncomfortable in a place.
He
teacher
has
me.
already.
He has already.
Teacher
But
me.
how I realized he was a liar
Uh-huh.
was when he's comfortable, he stays. He now I think says, hey, okay, it's okay. I've told them that it's okay. I'll come an hour later. then he stays.
Friends, today I have to go for a send-off. So I told these people, and I even pushed the send-off because I know I would love to be with you people. It's going to break my heart when I'm going. Yes,
Anyway.
it will.
Okay. No, but first of all, I want to understand Joel's thing properly.
Yeah.
Give me an example. Yeah, I want to. What does it mean? you know those boys of P5.
I know, I just reiterated what you said. I know why you're right.
When you say you feel the energy in the room, give me an example. Like in life, what would that look like? What would that translate to? Give me something in life that happened.
All right, it will be very difficult for me to, if we were talking and then I felt she was not in the conversation.
Or not
it is very difficult for me to not feel that this person might be out. So there's a part of my mind that is trying to say, how can I bring them in naturally without drawing attention to it? So there's always something else at the back.
So it's like you're always responsible for other people's safety.
It went a bit too
happiness
far.
Maybe.
I see that.
Yeah, and I think if it goes too far, you then end up getting emotionally drained.
I see that.
So I've had to learn how to regulate and go, okay, but they're an adult, they can. Someone once told me that pity has to be done in measures, because to pity someone is to reduce their complexity. Someone may be going through something, and sometimes you just throw pity on them, but you don't understand the different things that might have led to them being there, or their own ability to resolve the thing. And if you're always there to fix stuff, you might not allow them to get to a certain point. So I've now also learned that you wait until someone asks for help. You don't always have to initiate. It's an art.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, mine's like on a flip side or tangent, in the sense that I think, like how you're saying that you take responsibility for maybe other people's feelings.
Yeah.
I think I was on that, like the kind of person before when I was younger, that I never really took responsibility for my feelings or my actions. Like if I was in a room like this and I wasn't happy, it was not my responsibility to make me happy. It was those other guys who are not.
Okay, you guys are not.
So I would always need maybe a Joel in the room.
Yeah.
That type of energy.
Yeah.
Who now maybe tries to draw me in or makes me happy or makes me smile.
Yeah.
And then my mood would change.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just to piggyback off you, like my shift has all, like I would tell my younger self that you are the protagonist of your life story.
Yeah, that's
like
a good one.
Life is a summary of your choices, of your decisions. It's you. And it starts from the mind, like your thoughts, because I like science, so I like scientific reasoning behind things, and I did a lot of reading. I don't like motivation. I hate motivating. I'm like, okay, motivation is great.
This is the anti-motivational podcast.
Back it by science, back it by research.
Yeah, tell me motivation is using you just come and speak science so inspiringly. We start crying. We are like, well done.
This is very good.
Yeah.
Well, so that sort of science I learned was about how powerful the brain is, and particularly like the reticular activating system.
The what?
RAS. It's a reticular activating system. It's like a filter.
You're not shocked. You already know it.
This is clever. Okay, we are all clever.
I'm listening.
So it's like there's a filter.
activating.
Your brain shows you what you tell it that you want it to show you. So your thoughts, it's you who decides what you want to think. And I always like to bring up this thing for people who are buying cars or people who are buying anything actually.
You begin to see it.
When you think about a car, if you think about me, my cars have driven RAV4s from my first car to the car I have now. When I'm trying to buy a car, all I freaking see on the road is the RAV4.
Yeah.
Different models, different types of RAV4s.
When did all these RAV4s show up?
Where are all these cars coming from? It's because I have told my brain I need to buy a RAV4. So my brain now feeds me, because the brain cannot feed you. The brain gets overwhelmed. It cannot give you 100% of information at the same time.
Yeah.
So it usually gives you about 20%.
Yeah.
So it needs to filter. But you have to tell it what to filter. So I learned that the power of my brain, I control my thoughts. And my brain does not control. I influence my mind. So I create my own reality. And if I create my own reality, I create my own destiny. So it's like I'm the protagonist of my own life. I'm the creator. I'm the one who decides what I want my life to look like. So I have to make choices that are good for me. I have to make decisions that are good for me. So that I'm not there at a pity party later and I'm like, why me? Why, in Chiganda, in my culture, we have that thing where people say, Umwana bamnaze kayana. So kayana is a herb that the Baganda you bathe children in children.
That you're so dope, they showered you.
Not yeah, so they shower good herbs.
Yeah.
So kayana is a herb that is for people for people to like you.
Yeah.
They are good people who are liked by that herb. It like attracts goodness in the person. So usually the people who have that goodness attract goodness.
Yeah.
So they will say that So it was a thing of no, it has nothing to do with what she's doing.
With Kayana.
It has everything to do with the Kayana.
Yeah.
It is not that. It is
That
you
is
who
my
is
new
doing good
statement.
things. Yeah.
Omwana bakoze.
Kayana. Yes.
Mine is growth mindset, fixed mindset. As a child, Bambi, I went to a nursery school there in Bukoto, there like a village nursery school. I took myself to nursery school.
You used to walk to nursery
I just went, there was a nursery school next door, I went. So I took myself. They came and said this child is too young. Small briefcase. they said this child is too young. They said no, leave her. So I went to nursery school. So my parents ended up leaving me in the nursery school in Bukoto, which was a bit fake. Then I go to Buganda Road. I remember Buganda Road. My first report, I was the 105th out of 110.
Oh,
that's a lot.
Pity those 5.
Your first report after the village.
After the village nursery school, I was the 105th. I even remember up to this day, my dad Vanange. Sometime my uncle and friends had come to visit. My dad calls his child. He's like, Pumla, come. Tell these people what your position was. I remember. I was 7. I'm like, he's like,
people can remember their
core memories,
it was
man.
That, so it's a core thing for me because I remember. He says, tell them what your position was. He's like, she was the one. I opened page 1. Atugonza is not there. Page 2. Atugonza. I had to go to the back. Then the 5th from down was Atugonza. I will never forget. There, at 7, I decided me, Atugonza.
It shall never be me.
It shall never be me. So I remember from 100, people in P2, from 105, I went and started reading. A P2 child. I became the 39th. From the 39th, I became the 18th. From the 18th, I was the 9th. And that's the end of it. So
I tell us the truth.
No. So I'm coming.
You were the first.
Yeah. So now from that time,
day.
now I went to fast. Like not fast, but in those
people
because I know that people who are the Karumuna will come and say, please.
Of course, we have that.
I used to be the first and Murunji Grace. No, but I had such. It's like it became core to me that I must always demonstrate intelligence by positions, right? So that means, so I did all those things. I got 16.6, 18.8. Why go to a AAA? I went to law school. I did all that stuff. The problem with that is that I avoided anything that will demonstrate me as anything else apart from intelligent. And intelligence in school is demonstrated by positions. So that's why in S3, when I tried AdMath and improved, I said AdMath might make me the 105th.
It is subtracting for me.
I learned AdMath.
So you only pursue.
I only pursue things that
you know you will.
So I went to A-level. They told me try sciences. I said me. Who Newton's laws were about to kill me. I said I can never do them. I must only do things that will, and that's a problem. While it has allowed you to, you look at
you
to
thrive
the world,
in your small bubble.
It means that you are robbed of so many things that allow growth. So enter life. Now life comes. I'm working in a francophone country. And I have to learn French. Learning a language will demonstrate you as
fail several
stupid.
times.
You understand? Like it's not even intelligent things here of reticular nerve analysis. So reticular brain or RCA.
Reticular activating system.
It's not reticular activating.
Excuse me, Alan. That's the word of
my
day.
It's not
reticular activating system.
It's not even reticular activating. It is and was. You are speaking a language and you're saying the boy. He has coming. You understand?
What is the gender of the black boy?
And the only way that you will learn the thing is by allowing yourself to look silly. So that is what a growth mindset is. A growth mindset appreciates the process and says, it's not that I'm looking stupid, I am growing. So I think that whole experience made me have a fixed mindset in that. And unless I am looking good, I will not do it. But I wish I had allowed myself to explore more things that can allow me to grow as opposed to only always demonstrate the best.
You know, that's so strange because I always, and me, of course, what was a growth mindset. It was a thing that for me, I always tried many different things that I didn't succeed at. And because I came from a home of people who were really highly intelligent,
Excelling.
I would say.
Yeah.
So when I did not do as well, for me when I tried it and I was not the last, I was like, wow, I've done it, it's great. I'll get this kind of nice feeling.
Yeah.
But for them, they'll just be looking at me
As
like,
in, yeah.
such a as in,
Yeah.
you are not the first.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
even now, like in my older life, I'm triggered.
Yeah.
When people tell other people that, then someone maybe makes an error in their speech or in their grammar, and someone calls them out on Facebook and says, what type of English is that?
Yeah.
I get so triggered when
Yeah.
people like attack other people
Yeah.
based on their own score or their own marking guide of what intelligence looks like.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now that we've done general in life
and general.
let's go to career, success, sense of purpose. What career advice would you have given your teenage selves? And how has your definition of success or sense of purpose evolved since then? Career.
Don't be afraid. Growth mindset.
Yeah. No, again.
Growth mindset.
I know, right? It's
Yeah. We are working on it.
We are fighting for that.
I'll help
growth
you.
mindset. Wow. Happy birthday, Pumla.
I thought we were not playing that.
No. We are. Happy birthday, Ipo. It was Pumla's birthday this week. Happy birthday, and
Such
she
a lovely
feels
picture. She
love.
looked so nice. Did you
So
see? And
hot.
she even wrote a very. I said,
What were you
"Running
looking
outfit."
at?
The old eyes, your beautiful eyes. I was like, wow, look at them. They're
Someone
so
like you uploaded
fantastic.
that picture so that we can look at. Because even me, I looked at it. Since Pumla said,
She was like,
you're like, whatever you do.
But Alan, can you insert that picture?
Well, what color
that
was
these guys are talking
outfit?
about?
Oh, it was
And guys,
fantastic.
comment section, tell me what you're looking at.
Exactly.
Please remember Jesus is watching as
Please,
you comment.
assistant.
Yeah.
Okay, Prima.
So
Thank
career.
you.
Career. What would I tell myself? I would tell myself that career is really what you do because of who you are.
What do you
Say again, say
Because
again.
of who you are. So I just grew up with this thing of career is what am I going to be? And that's what they would ask you. What do you want to be when you grow up? Right? I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be, you get a term and that's your career. And so you pursue that. And so I didn't even really want to do law. I thought I wanted to do economics. Little did I.
You didn't want to do law?
Yeah, I didn't want to do law.
How did you end up there?
My dad said, as in, if you've ended up, you must do law. Like, if you've ended up in arts, you must do law. I had
Yeah,
said
it was-
econ because I used to do econ so well in
well.
school. If only I knew campus econ, fixed mindset would not have taken. Because when I look at math, never. Anyway, so in my head, I thought career is I'm going to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
I become a lawyer, and the truth of the matter is that it really bores me. Like I am doing
Because it's easy.
no, there's no purpose towards what I'm doing. I'm doing due diligences. I'm doing. You understand? I'm not feeling any impact
Is it
as
the
a
type
result.
of law that you chose?
Yeah, the type
maybe?
of law at that time, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, the type of law that I was doing. So I was doing corporate law, and I'm good at it. Or I like my boss might watch it and say, "Why are you?" But I like to.
So you're not happy?
I like to think that I was good at it, but they all know that I went through a thing. But I'm just not happy. And in school, I had done human rights. So I'm like, no, maybe let me try and look for this. Let me look for something else. I got one NGO, dear.
Oh.
NGOs. I'm like, Jesus, what is it? I'm like, even this one.
What was up with
every
the
time you
NGO?
meet, I should leave the office.
Yeah. So the NGO was worse for me than the law firm that I was working at. For many reasons, yeah.
And yet
it
the
was
purpose
not-
seemed to be
Yes,
something that you really...
Yes, the purpose seemed to be what I'm looking for, because I was like, what better way to support poor people and the people
Women
who are...
in need.
Yeah. But even that didn't work. And that's the time now I have to go and do my master's. I do my master's, but I'm like, let me do corporate, maybe. At least it's not as bad as, But then I now get to a point where I am stuck. Like I'm actually stuck. Like I'm palpitating. Like I'm like, life can't be like this. And I think it happens because now I get many 26, 27 there that come and they're like, what is happening? Because now you're coming into yourself, but you're not really sure. You're like, this is a bank that I'm just, as in, what is the impact of this work that I do? So I was real stuck. And then imagine I went into Aristoc. I found a book, Designing Your Life.
Designing your life.
Yeah, I read the book, and the book is generally saying, investigate who you are. Investigate yourself to find out what you like and how that can fit into what you can do with your life. So it even really has a workbook. I start investigating. I'm like, okay, at work, are there things that I like? I realize, okay, now I like I like working in a team. A task can really bore me, but if I have to work with someone on that task, I'll enjoy it. I really like when we have conversations in the office and maybe someone is having and then you understand, like I began to understand the bits and pieces of me. And then work-wise, I began to understand that I'm almost emotional about Africa. You understand, like the way people like I am almost, you get like, I feel it to the core. And I found that from projects. I'm like, why do I enjoy this project? Because it's a regional. So I investigated myself. Then now I realize that my career is this person who is passionate about Africa, but she's passionate about women, but she's passionate. So how do I make all these things fit into what do I do? And I became vocal about it. I said, telling people, is there an organization that helps African Ghanaians? I told everybody, and because of that, somebody found it and was like, Puma, isn't this your rubbish? Like, I've seen these TORs and they look like, and it was like I had never seen. I was like, this TOR is a Tugonza Prima as a person.
It is me.
It is me. And that is how now I see my career. And I say that it's not just that. It will have teaching. What does teaching mean? Teaching means I'll do webinars, it will have, it's just so, I would tell my younger self that my career is what I do because of who I am, not a title there that I'm a lawyer,
I like that, you know what it's giving? It's giving, and maybe this is something I can talk to teenagers about. Because like I can come here and tell you, you are the protagonist of your own life story. But remember, at a certain point, when you're a dependent, you must play by the piper's tune. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. So you must dance at the tune. So somebody gave you law. They wanted me to do law, but I was allowed to do economics because of a mistake they had made for me in S1 when I was choosing schools. My parents had forced me to put Buddha and not Gayaza.
Also, it reduces your points or something.
So that I have a higher chance, because girls, remember at that time, were being given lower points. And because I was so volatile in my academics, my parents were like, you know what, to be on the safe side, put Buddha, because you might not get into Gayaza. Then I got the marks for Gayaza. And my father spent every working day on the bench to get me into Gayaza, even if I hadn't put it as a choice. So now when I came to campus and I said, you guys, I want to do economics, I saw them in the memory of Banak. Let's leave this girl today. But they could have made me do law because they were the ones who were in charge. I didn't know if I was going to get into government. I remember those points were quite high. So for your story is giving, like, maybe I want to speak to like younger people and tell them that yes, those degrees that your parents are making you get, do them. But guess what? There'll come a point in your life when now you make the decision and follow your passion. And your passion might be extremely divergent from what you did. Prima is lucky that maybe as a lawyer, some of the things that she's doing, the law gives you a good foundation to do what you actually want to do. But some people, I know somebody, Balamaga, of Rogers Bites, he's a lawyer, but now he's into food, and he's making money off selling food and helping people with their
reduce the keto price.
But you guys don't pray in your friend's business. Don't play in your friend's business.
If you want.
But Bambi
you are the protagonist in your story. So if you decide, thank you.
Rogers Bites. You can decide that degree, put it on the side. And by the way, even if it is you who has chosen that degree, it is okay to reach a point and you're like,
and be like, is this really
no longer?
I don't like this anymore. And then because each of us has talents, we have gifts. So maybe that's not the gift that was meant for you. Maybe you thought it was, and now it's no longer serving you. It's okay to shift, reach a point in your life. I think the age I usually say is 25. And you can start thinking of what else you can now do. Put that degree aside. It's okay. Imagine
It is. Okay, and the problem is that people say things like, I went to school for 3 years. Life has 45 more years, 80 more years. You know what I mean?
You're going down the wrong road because you already started.
Okay, they will play somehow into the story, but it's okay. Like
there are doctors who went to school for so many years and they've released themselves from those
and they're creating content.
They're creating content. They're on podcasts now. Imagine after all those years.
No, but I feel like what you did and what you're talking about is a very new thing for our social culture, because like
I agree.
People who went to do engineering were just engineers. Like we've come up, we've been raised, and I think sometimes maybe like the advice you are giving to those kids is you can start to resent your parent because you think they are pushing you in something. But I've learned that retroactively you can actually change your experience of the past by understanding that someone can love you and still hurt you. They may mean well for you. Like when they were trying to say go to, they didn't hate you.
A t-shirt.
They were trying to do something. So I remember when I went to hospital to see a relative of mine, and the people at the front desk said, you can only stay for an hour. And I was wondering, like, why are visiting hours from loved ones so limited? And they said for particular people who are going through distress, what they found is being around their loved ones can ironically make them more stressed, because they see the look in the people's eyes saying, are you going to be okay? Are you going to be better? And it's putting pressure on them to say, how can I accelerate this? So actually you need to be moved away from people who are well-meaning and care about you, because that well-meaningness is smothering your capability. And when you're young, it's very hard, because like me, when I was telling my parents, I don't know what I want to be. Maybe an astronaut. My father said, which African? And then, just real poured water on the thing. And I said, okay, now I want to be this. But he wasn't trying.
Because when I Pumla, imagine your child comes here and they tell you they want to be about what?
I'm going to be a movie star.
Yeah. In Uganda. You'd be okay? You'd be okay with everything?
I think we would be easy. I think we would be a lot more accommodating, because you've also gone through that pain, and you can help guide them when they're going through that. Because I think, okay, I'll tell you a story.
No, it's like they want to be a musician, they can't hold that tune.
Yeah, so for me, they
can
want
become a rapper.
to do something, and I can see that
they want to.
Okay, yeah. Okay, if you say that mismatch, then that's different.
Let them discover.
Yeah.
Alan, yeah?
My kids' careers change based off the kind person they have met. So if a teacher is kind to them,
they want to be a teacher.
Want to be a teacher, so I can be kind to people.
Yeah, makes sense.
My son told me he wants to be an askari, because askari washes my car and does a good job. He's like, I want to be an askari. I also take care of the cars, make sure they're clean and the tires are always clean. So there's changes based off who they have met.
So that just means that your son just wants to be a kind person.
Yeah.
That's it. So that says a lot about your guidance as a parent.
Busy.
So did you say that just to show us that you were doing
a
good job?
He was so happy when you recognized
No.
I don't have to keep egging this pudding. I've been egging it. My gosh.
Alan, how long have you kept that story?
No.
Waiting for this opportunity.
No, we're talking about like maybe dampening their spirits on something that may not be good for them. So my question is like, how do you do that for this one? Because they're saying it because these people.
No, he's still 2 years. How old is he?
There is 8 and like a 5-year-old. So
it's okay. Yeah, you can be whatever you want to be. Whatever you want to be.
I'm the president, sure.
Yeah, it's okay. Anything. Okay, dear.
Did you tell us about your career?
No, it's just...
sorry, no, we're in conversation. Career.
Career or success or sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Or,
So one of my best friends, Nelson, really knew what he was going to be. Like he knew from the beginning, I want to be this. In fact, his pressure was, I need to give my parents this degree so that I can then go and do what I want.
Yeah.
And when you're around someone who knows clearly what they want to be and everyone else is saying the same thing, you feel weird.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I would give back is the interesting thing for me is that weirdness. By leaning into it, it has allowed me to do so many different things. So I like, Prima, it was so clear to be like, I'm a lawyer. Me, they would ask me, I'm very sure people don't even know what I do. They're just like, I guess it's in management, in tech, in things. And I've always been comfortable in. I want a sort of vagueness there so that it allows me to always have that muscle to keep changing. When I got this current job, one of the concerns they had was, but on your CV, every 3 years you're going somewhere else. And I said, that is the awkward thing for me is I like that anxiety. Anxiety usually tells me that there's a sense of freedom for me to make that choice. So the thing you're talking about for choice, I think as we grow older, I don't know how it works for you, but as you grow older, you become more full of the narrative of who you are and it becomes fixed. I am this kind, I don't like math, I don't do this. And I've always been afraid of that because I sense it even with the friends I have, that there's some people for whom it's like, oh, you are who you have been since you were 21 and they're comfortable there. And I've also had to learn that you can grow out of friendships because of that, because your experiences, the things you value also continue to change. So when I learned that the word career used to be used for horses, that's when I said,
Educate us, dear.
Sorry.
So the word career used to be the racing career of a horse. So when it was done with your career, you're like, because it was useful for that one thing. And over time, those pathways of this is what you've learned, this is what you are. Society needs you as a function of the thing you're going to provide. But you're so much more. I think in church they used to say don't put a period where God put a comma. So there are all those things that you can, I can be this, that, and the other.
Banange Ugandans, period is full stop.
Is full. Yeah, please. Periodicity. No, they might even know periodicity.
Auntie, that's what I'm afraid of. They're here now wondering. That now how did we enter menstrual cycle business?
And you're like, I'm not in my period, dear.
When they say period, you go, what's this man talking about? Well, don't shoot a period. Where?
Ugandans, full stop.
You know, it's like primary school, how, like, P5, when you just say learning about the reproductive system, then the teacher comes and says something like, that building was erect, the whole class. Yeah,
how have you said this? What?
I know the whole class.
They still do it. They're stupid. They're still as stupid as we were.
As we were in our
day.
Nothing has changed.
I'm still as stupid as that.
Has changed.
Oh, I forgot the thing I was going to say. So,
the career of a host.
Yeah, but it comes to, as a human being, the fundamental nature of being human is our capacity to change. The difference between us and a lion's instincts, they don't have a shortcut. A lion cannot go, I'm not going to sleep now. Like a human being is the only one. You ever seen someone dozing? Have you seen a child like dozing and they're like, I don't want to sleep? That's not something you find in the animal kingdom. So unfortunately, in our work lives, we try, because having managed a company, you would want people.
Having what?
Manage the company.
By the way, company.
Some company, he said earlier, he said, you know, people, they just see, they don't know what I do, but they
just manage.
I'm a management. We didn't catch on. We said nothing.
No, he was deep.
Now he has to say something again. Okay, now sir, manage.
Led a company, dear. I've only tried to open a shop.
You will not get praise when you are gone. So enjoy the praise when you are living.
When you're living.
Yeah, when you are alive. Don't be too humble for praise. I'm humble by your praise. No, you're a serious entrepreneur.
You're an entrepreneur. You even wrote a book and used to deliver for us on borders.
That's why I said leave motivation alone. You had begun on her. She was like, hey,
please,
you're offering my sales. Yeah, I don't want to motivate people.
Having managed the company. Having managed the company.
The thing I've seen, okay, maybe the example I'll give is when I was reading about psychotherapy. The thing that attracted me to it was there will always be a gap between how you see yourself as an ideal and how you feel you are. But there's also how people see you. And so like, let's say I'm someone's husband or someone's father. All of us are trying to seek for that thing of, I'm going to be a father and I'm going to be the best father, but everyone falls short. Now, the thing to accept is that gap means you can always do better. You can always improve. So I figure that whatever you're doing or whatever you're pursuing, you have to lean into anxiety.
Okay.
Didn't you, like that anxiety you were talking about where you went through the workbook, I feel like
you do.
It's very difficult for people to understand that you have to feel uncomfortable to get to where you need to
And
be.
it's normal, it's part of being human. It's normal. It's normal, you will get tired and then.
Yeah, and you can be kind to yourself because some people figure it out. What's that Oscar Wilde quote? Some people know who they are and they become it, and that's their downfall, and other people don't know who they're going to be, and that's their blessing. Because then there is like an open space for you to try and do things. So I think if you reframe it as you have so many opportunities in front of you. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a mindset set for success to me. But guys, can I tell you how I used to define success?
And tell us.
What? No, it was so specific. Mercedes-Benz.
That's right.
Are you for real?
E-class.
Did I know what E-class?
Whatever.
You know anyone who drove a Benz. I used to pass them. Now they are taking me to school. It's not like I was able, I had the capacity to quantify the value of the Mercedes-Benz. I just thought it was such a unique, like it was such a nice car. And for me, when I'm successful, it means I am able to drive a Mercedes-Benz. Because everybody driving that car just looked cool. You know?
Kumbe, it's their parents.
These are their parents.
However, they go to their car.
Looking at adults. So I was a child looking at adults who owned these cars. And those days they were not that many.
They were not that
many.
Not
as many as they were. So I always thought, me it is. So imagine my definition of success evolved from driving a Mercedes-Benz to I realized that success, one, is an individualized concept. It's person to hold. Which can either be lead to your downfall or
Yeah.
it can be a blessing, because your definition can be so low.
Yeah.
And yet, if everybody decided that our definition of success is this, epitome, and we all strive for something so high, you never know, you might fall on a star.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's an individualized concept. And for me, success to me looks like personal independence. I always said that I strive for personal independence. And personal independence presents itself in 3 ways. 1, emotional independence.
Financial.
Emotional independence being that, again, because I may not have control over what happens to me, but I am 100% responsible for how I respond to what happens to me. So am I able to manage my emotions enough to think through shit and be able to find solutions that are best for me?
Yeah.
Emotional independence. Because emotions are going to be there, haywire, and when emotions are high, people are not making decisions that are good for them. They are thinking in the moment and responding and reacting in the moment. So emotional independence was 1. The second being mental independence.
Pumla, question on emotional independence. Does that also translate into not needing your emotions to depend on a person? Like not needing your happiness and your to be dependent on a particular person?
That's
'Cause I get
that's
those
a gray
vibes.
area. Yeah, that's a gray area. And
Yeah.
that's why for that one, it's usually difficult to dissect for people in relationships. It's a little different because for some reason you now start depending on each other. So that one is difficult to dissect in a romantic relationship or partnership, but generally in the world, yes.
Do you find
What
it
about
easy
your
to
acquaintances?
emotionally depend on your person? Do you struggle with it?
I don't really.
You don't emotionally?
Because as I'm going to say
Even
later,
struggle.
Uh-huh.
I am dismissive about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even happy
So,
birthday disturbs you. So do you emotionally also you
So for
you,
me, attachment does not come like that to me.
Okay.
So I usually used to keep an emotional distance. So if I'm not attaching, then my happiness is not dependent on me.
so we can have fought and I'm okay at work. Like it doesn't trickle
Like
down into my
it
other
will be
things.
something. I'll be like, that person, they're now just irritating me. Like they're just, and then I move on.
But
you
you're
can
not-
feel your feelings.
Yeah.
So emotionally, it doesn't mean that your feelings cannot be
You don't deny them.
affected. No,
Yeah.
it means that the decisions you are making
Okay.
because of how you are feeling, you're allowed to feel shit.
Okay.
Feel it.
Yeah.
But what is it affecting around
Okay.
you?
Okay.
So if I'm feeling, I'm allowed to feel shit.
Yeah.
But if I'm
feel
going to
stuff.
or feel sad, or
That
feel,
feeling. No,
feel sad, which is not acceptable.
Never be
Okay.
it is.
Okay, I'm allowed to feel sad or disappointed, but I remember I have to go to work.
I'm in charge.
I have to go to work. So yes, I can feel all those feelings. I'm allowed to feel them and they're valid, but I must still not make decisions that later in life. Now, am I going to jump off a building?
Yeah.
Am I going to I have a friend who went to a bar one time and her ex did something and she followed him and slashed his tires and broke his windows. Am I going to do that? Yeah, I'm allowed to get upset and angry.
Yeah.
But
what do I do as a
when I'm
result?
Don't commit criminal
upset?
acts.
I get it.
Now she's out of pocket because now they've called police.
I get it.
There are consequences for your action.
If you were to look at the people that you've dated and had pretty good rapport with, are they similar in your attachment style or they are completely different?
Can we talk about relationships in a different, as a different aspect on it?
Okay.
It's fine.
We'll definitely talk about relationships.
Okay,
so we finished emotional independence.
success,
now
emotional
it's
independence.
mental independence. Mental independence looking like that you're able to analyze situations and form conclusions without being biased or influenced by society's way of thought. Like you can actually make your own decisions, even if everybody else is saying, what? We were discussing here with Prima about somebody I know who was aged 54.
Yeah.
And he was telling everybody else, he lived in a home, but the person in that home was his sister. But everybody else thought that was his wife.
Yeah.
And he sold the story that was his wife because society will always ask you, why aren't you married at your age?
Yeah.
So, and yet for me, I feel like mental independence is to be able to say, you know what, this is a decision I have made.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And don't put me in a box and explain this. That's okay. You don't have to defend yourself, but It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So maybe that's mental independence, that you can make decisions on your own without being biased or influenced. Imagine you go to work and then someone immediately tells you, by the way, stay away from Joel. Oh, Joel is a gossip, he's a thing, he's a what?
True.
You haven't experienced Joel for yourself.
Joel for yourself.
Yeah.
So you should be able to experience Joel and then decide if really Joel is that person they're saying they are. Actually, don't even have it at the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Just experience Joel and then decide if Joel is the type of person you want to be around or not. That's mental independence. The last one, which for me is very important, financial independence. And all financial independence is being able to support yourself and your dependents without relying on other people.
For the next how many years?
It's financial freedom and financial independence.
I know, this is
financial.
Mabula 105.
It would be very becoming
Yes.
for me to pass to and fro
Yes.
without saying hello to you.
Hello.
And,
And thank you for this space.
For hosting us.
For hosting us.
yeah, so I hope the philosophizing is going on well.
It is.
It is.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah.
It's always a good day with Joel.
Yes.
Next episode you're coming. Eh? Next episode you're coming.
Oh yes, on good advance.
Notice. Fantastic.
I hope like-
We've recorded it. Thank you.
Yeah, so nutshell for me, when you tell me success, it is, are you emotionally independent? Are you mentally independent? Are you financially independent? And yes, once in a while you will drop these balls.
Yeah.
But generally speaking,
Yeah.
are you in control of your life?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
success
that's for me
for
what
you.
success looks like for me.
Yeah.
What does success look like?
for you?
Success
This is
for
it.
me, you know,
Prima is, if anything, the only always telling us.
My friend,
She's
she's
not
always, there's always another hill to climb.
yeah.
It's always, what is the
Yeah.
other lady's name you told us the other time?
Sylvia Mlinge,
Sylvia
yeah, those
something.
ones.
Yeah.
No, success for me is doing everything I'm supposed to do as a person, like exploiting every facet of Prima.
Nook and cranny.
You understand? Like not, and it's not
But
just
how do
career.
you know every facet? of
No,
Prima?
like as I discover, as I find out.
Okay.
For example, if let's say career, I realize that I like this about career. I realize that I like this about women. I realize that I like this about church. I realize that I like this about family. Like whatever gift, whatever is inside here, I should pour it out. That's what I call success. And so there are many things that I've not yet tapped into that I think about. And I'm like, Prima, it would be really nice if you started something like this that can bring maybe this and this and that together. As long as I've not yet done that particular thing, I'm not yet successful because I want to be able to pour out all the different facets of Prima. Yeah.
Can we ever really do?
No, but for me, I think that you can
There's fulfillment in
incrementally.
pursuing.
You're not
You
setting
can,
yourself up for failure. You're
no.
not setting yourself up for failure.
It means that you're always. I don't think you can ever arrive. It's a journey.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't feel
whenever you talk
unsuccessful.
Prima, I
Even-
feel like you don't ever think you'll ever be successful.
No. I don't feel unsuccessful now. Even now, I feel successful.
Okay,
I'm just like there is room for more. I never arrive.
You're just
like,
not
I
Or you
don't-
just don't
perfect
I
or
can
arrive.
never have
contented.
I
arrivism.
see.
Even money
I
can never
see.
be the symbol of
see.
arrivism because everything that I want to do is not
see.
tied to money.
I
There are
see.
things that I want to do that have nothing to do with money. But
Yeah.
if
I see.
honestly in this life, Prima, you don't do anything about, let's say, coaching women.
Yeah.
You have not yet
Growth
arrived.
mindset.
You don't. Yeah. So it's that whole.
mindset.
Yeah.
You can give me the
Exploring.
extra money.
Yeah.
Africa, develop Africa. Banange.
Yeah. So that's what success is to me. Yeah.
Joe?
Wow, success. My definition of success has actually changed recently. I found that I'm more at ease or happy, like when we used to be in fellowship. I think I stayed at church for a long time because I felt more an individual because we had a shared purpose. And the more I've started achieving certain things that I wanted, they don't seem as great until I'm sharing them with other people. And also my journey now is that I think modern life requires you to be an individual.
Joel, but there's a particular person I want you to share with. But
It's okay. There's
we desire sharing. We are also with you until you share.
don't abijane me. Don't force me to. This is going to seem like a long path, but I promise you it's going to make sense. The reason I really got attracted to philosophy is because it's not because it solves practical problems. If there was like like when COVID came, you're not going to go and ask a philosopher, what shall we do? No, the things which are defined have fallen into these things of this is now science, this is biology. All of those came out of philosophy to become disciplines. The reason it stays is it poses the question that there are certain axioms, there are certain things which you don't question. Things that you say and everyone accepts. So
Yes, certain axioms.
Yeah.
Someone might have had actions. Magange axioms.
Axiomatic formats.
Alan, that's Joel's word.
There are certain axioms. Kwanga's like actions.
Axioms that we don't question. So you know how they say to us that there are no bad questions. But on the contrary, the way you frame a question can itself be part of the problem.
Okay.
So that's how, like say history. I'm very fascinated about how things came to be what they are, because like you, I think we can always change our ways. But like before I was born, my name had been picked. I was a firstborn. There were certain things that already formed who I was, and everything about me is external facing. The fact that I'm a man, why I dress this way, there are so many things that are in me, and you know, the individualistic thing is, I think, therefore I am. It makes you the center of everything. Now, that's a perspective that might make sense, but I'm more inclined to the Ubuntu approach, that the community came before you. Wherever you're situated, whatever context you're in, informs even the way you see things. That's why when I like meet you and see the home you're, like the more I understand about you, it reshapes how I receive things that you're saying.
Okay.
It reshapes how something I would have taken as an offense. I'm like, no, I understand the context within which this person is moving. So for me, it's seeing the people that I'm with flourish.
Nice.
And because of that, I found that even things like self-care, I tried them, but they didn't work as well. Now, the reason it didn't work is when I'm on my own mind and I'm just like, how am I going to fix myself? There's some, it's never ending. It's like an infinite loop. I will keep feeding myself.
But doesn't, like we said the last time, doesn't the individual need to be dope in order to feed into?
So this is the thing. Why are you trying to be dope? Like for me, at a certain point it was, I need people to also...
As for dope,
there is,
compared to axiom.
That's right, dope. I contain multitudes. So there is like the status. Okay, think about if your child, I was talking to someone like their child wanted to become ballet dancer, boy. And him, because he loves his son, was like, you're going to get bullied. What work are you going to, like, he was like, how? Now, that child pushing through that pressure, he saw his child was very sensitive and realized that this child might suffer a lot. And when I thought about that, I was like, I would want to be the kind of person who can allow for that child to explore, fail, and then come back. Before they usually go, no, you can't do that. So I guess my definition of success is almost like the one of a shepherd. Are the people in my life better off because I'm there?
Fire.
Like the quality of the sheep. Like you judge a shepherd by how well the sheep are. And I think collectively, like for Africa.
I feel like you're still going back to your first original thing that you were trying
so,
to run away from.
No.
Yet
So
you're
there,
still becoming more of
so let me explain the difference. So there it was me trying to make them feel good. That's why I went back to the pity thing. There you're just going to remove the immediate pain, remove the immediate discomfort. But if I look at the context, sometimes it means let me leave them to go through. I have to apply my mind to them. But if all of my mind is about my goals and because I feel like I lived that way, I pursued things, but I sacrificed time with people that I care about. I sacrificed time doing certain things that I enjoy. I had to make sacrifices to achieve a certain level of success. But having got relatively far there, I found that the more stuff you get, the more you need that stuff. I needed to be so independent. I needed it. Why? Because I was like, I don't want to have to rely on someone else. And then I realized that why is it so painful for me to rely on someone else? And I realized because my initial need, I felt like I was a bother. So I was like, you know what? People will love you because you're strong. People will care about you because you're bringing something.
So it's a birth order issue as well.
Yeah, but I feel like the weird thing is that that mindset is rewarded in this society.
It is.
So like that guy you were talking about, we won't mention the story. I'm not going to mention the story, but I'm saying we know the story. That person you spoke about, right? It's weird. A lot of people who are materially successful that I've found, there's a certain loneliness that they have put themselves into. Why? Because even when people approach them, they're like, what does this person want? And it's like being in first class. Money buys you that affordance of you don't need people. And because of that, you get so removed from where things are. When the protests were happening in Kenya, we were in the office talking about, oh yeah, good macros in the economy. I'm like, look at what's happening there. But if you're not living that life, you don't materially feel it. It's like when you see a car crash, you're just like, it happened. But when your finger gets hurt, you feel that more because it's closer to you. So I want to feel other people's pain, but not let it determine my emotional response. It will inform my reasoned response. So I'm trying to move it away from emotions to having practical ways in which I can be there. And so for me, success might be, I'll die and then no one will really...
Honorable members. Honorable members.
Summarize what I've said.
My God. So you said success
is in the flourishing of the community that I'm in.
is Ubuntu.
Is Ubuntu.
Yeah. Is Ubuntu for you.
Yeah.
But then it had some, I want to, reasoned feeling. I don't want to feel emotional response.
You can love people with your
reasoned.
mind.
But speaking about Kenyans,
use your mind to follow your heart.
at what time are Kenyans finishing their work? Then they come and assist us.
They can never. It's ours, please. Let's fight our own.
We have some battles here, but we are not strong enough.
We're here saying, why?
You got zero strength.
And our brothers
Have you
to
seen all
the
that
east
memes?
of our borders.
Help us.
Do you know being
Help
the
us.
cautionary tale in the WhatsApp group? Did you see them? They were there from that guy, the three man that
Joel, I want to ask you something about what you've said. That you receive people in the context of your context helps you to understand people more and you respond to them in that way. Are there people of whose context you've understood and you have decided that that's not for me? I can't be in that space.
Like you said, you wondered why I have
Or is every single person in the world
Acceptable because of their context.
because of their context?
If we don't have enough time to figure that out, I think if we had enough time, we would. But at some
let's
point, you
note it as a
choose.
topic.
You go like,
I don't have the time to work on this.
yeah, like when you choose a partner, for instance, you're choosing that whatever trials they're going to go through, you're going to go deeper and deeper into their context. There are other people- I am very I'm very polite.
There's layers.
I feel like, guys, I cannot drain myself. I will give what I can. But
Like
let me
example,
not-
you can, for example, and without being insensitive, you might be willing to, for example, deal with brokenness with a broke person, but you're not willing. But it's an example, but you're not willing to, let's say, deal with a person with a mental health issue. You see what I mean? You might be like, this one I can try. The context, I've understood both contexts.
Okay.
This one I can try, this one I can't.
What will it cost me?
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
Costing emotionally, mentally, psychologically.
Yeah.
Let's look at faith and spiritual practice.
Wait, look at me.
I kind of know a little bit about where you both stand, but now I want to hear it. How has your faith, or your belief systems, or spiritual practice evolved over the years till this point where you are?
I didn't grow up very religious. My parents had this thing of, there are different ways, different pathways to God. People believe in different things, and they try to expose us to different things so that.
What things did they expose you to?
So,
Wanga parents of those days. How many boiled eggs did you take?
you've met Mr. Mgrand.
I know.
He had a Quran, and one time I went to pick it and he said, you have to wash your hands before you pick it up. Like you have to respect why people do certain things. And he was telling me that some things will only make sense when you are in the belief system. So it's like, it will look weird to you, but if you go and practice and hang around them, you'll see maybe if it's for you or not. So I didn't know about people being saved until I went to primary school.
Primary school, okay.
Like before in Chita, they came and said, you guys are going to hell if you don't. I said, hell?
Or you'd never heard of that?
I said, why would I go to hell? I'm a young boy. Even said, come and confess your sins. Man, like, I didn't do homework, Dad. They forgave me. And then I said,
They forgave you?
They said, yeah.
They forgave you or they gave you?
No, they said God forgives you. So I was like, okay,
okay.
you can tell me what God wants for me.
Yeah.
By summarizing my belief now, at some point I lost my faith. But I interpret it now as it was.
How did you gain your faith? Don't go too far.
Yeah, because you started
from now then you got saved in P4.
Because the long story short was my parents were getting divorced and I felt a sudden emptiness. Like I wanted to feel like some guarantee things are going to be okay. And in chapel, everyone had this thing of, oh no, God the Father is like the father of the fatherless. At first, I was going to go to Islam because Islam had that thing of, it's the thing for orphans or people who feel like they've lost
Did you
something.
point at Alan? Is Alan a Muslim? You pointed at Alan.
He has the, he has the characteristics.
Hey guys, and these things make him happy. He dies. He's like the other people of erect. The P4, he's staying there. That P5, that brain.
I will never grow up. Anyway, no, the truth is, I said the prayer of taste and see that the Lord is good. I wanted some relief, some purpose, something to push forward to. And for like 10 years, I was in the thing. I was really serious, but there was something that always bothered me.
Joe, was it just 10 years? I feel like it was more. It was about 10 years?
It was about 10 years. Because when I came to All Saints, you guys had been in church for a long time. Like I was always trying to catch up.
Okay.
But something used to bother me in that there were things in the faith that the way they were interpreted, I saw as quite cruel. Like, okay, because someone doesn't believe they're going to burn forever. I was like, so I remember talking to Archbishop.
I'm like,
Orombi.
until you're there.
Yeah, and I'm there like, oh.
No.
Yeah. And so I wrestled with it for such a long time. And then I felt angry that, I gave my life to this thing and yet I don't think it's actually factual. I started reading about all different types of ways faith came together. But the thing that helped me reconcile, and why I say I'm an atheist Christian, people think I'm joking.
He's an atheist Christian.
Is that
Auntie, you remember they exposed him to Quran's eggs? You're nuts.
This eggs thing.
I just found out that thingy. Eggs is one of the things they use for witchcraft mob in Uganda. I had
Is it boiled?
whatever eggs.
Is
I had
it raw?
I think they have different powers.
I've never heard of that.
Oh no, you know, I had no idea till Mex was telling me he went over where he was in his trenches, doing his work. Then he found some eggs. He's like, man, I had to start praying. I was like, what was wrong with the eggs? He's like, you don't know? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, of course eggs are for. I've
never had
putting
that
eggs
before.
at my neighbor's home.
Now they'll start praying and they'll go for all overnight.
I always hear them saying, bring an eye of a lame lizard, what is.
I think they make them up. Just go, what can I say today that will make this person go and get me the rest?
Just a small egg.
I know, you're like, I can bring a tray.
Bring the
5.
toenail of a hedgehog.
5. Do you want omelette? Do you want fried?
I know which one.
French toast, perhaps?
Organic over.
Thanks. Yellow yolk?
Anyway, so the thing that got back to me was what died on the cross. And I really believe that the symbolic reason for Jesus dying on the cross, like everything about the faith, like when Jesus came, he was not accepted by the religious. He was with the people who are the dregs of society was where God showed up. They expected a Messiah, like Jewish people up to now say, he can't be the Messiah because the Messiah is supposed to come and liberate us. He's supposed to come in power. Now, as I see it, what the mainstream church has done is taken the arrival of God and then God, okay, he's coming again. That time he will be the real Messiah. But my interpretation, the way I've come to reconcile myself is, where there is love between two people, there I am. So if God is love, God is a relation between people. How can I say I love God without loving people in front of me? So I have said there's more than enough for us to do here. And it has also radicalized me in a way that I felt like the church was so removed from the affairs of this world. It was, we are a royal priesthood, we are a holy nation, we are, set apart. But when you finish reading all those things, you are set apart to change. You're supposed to be salt. And for some reason we pull back. I'm frustrated even up to now because I think there's so much emancipatory power in the church, particularly because that verse where Jesus says you have to hate your mother, love, and he's be like, why is he being so harsh? But the interpretation I got is, forget the order of the world. All of us, there's no male, there's no female. It's about making us all equal. It's a radical thing of, hey, my relationship to you, I choose it. It's not because I've been told you're my cousin, therefore I'm supposed to love cousins, but I'm choosing to love you. Or the example of the Good Samaritan. It's not someone of faith, it's someone who acted. They didn't pray. Like those guys who were walking by seeing someone struggling, I'll pray. There's a certain inactivity, that verse on having a form of godliness but denying its power. And the power comes from us doing things together. We are the body. So that led me to the point of the only way I could come to that realization is by stopping to ask the Father above, oh, can you do this thing? He has already told us what we're supposed to do. Love these people, free them. And the power is between us. And I think that's why the fruits of the Spirit are relational. You need patience to deal with people. You need long suffering. You need all those things. You can't have them in your room alone. And I guess where my relationship with the faith flipped is it's not a personal relationship, meaning that it's just me and God. My relationship to what I believe is God, the highest ideal, is how I deal with the people around me, how I feed the people who are around. And so that's what's broken that individualistic pathway. And I think, unfortunately, when I was in the faith, a lot of my prayers were about me. They're about God. Nothing of enlarge my territory, do all these things. Even now, when we talk about people being blessed with riches, we don't think, how did they get those riches? We're like, God blessed you. And there's like this mystification. But I'm more interested now in that true faith is lived by what you do. What are you willing to sacrifice? So it's a lot more demanding of me. I can't just say a prayer. I can't just say,
but do you
let me
believe,
be forgiven.
Then do you, because you've said atheist Christian, so do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe in Christ?
This is a longer conversation. So I think that there is I believe that God is like math.
Go on.
And I don't think
in that you can't no.
Use another example.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Did we invent numbers or we discovered them?
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's how I think. Like there are some things that you can't get fully.
So there is like a higher power, but you don't know if
and
the higher
even now,
power
even in secular society, I think secular people are a lot more religious than they realize. That the whole thing of, there is a purpose, there is a meaning. Like we all have, there's some religion. Order to life, and there is someone that we have organized. To.
Yeah.
And the human mind cannot stand being solitary. So in order for me to think that you're a person, I have to assume you have a mind, and I see myself through you. If everyone around me told me I'm ugly, for me to believe I'm beautiful, there's someone who had to have put that in me. So I think of God as the thing that we project all our greatest hopes and dreams towards, and then we live in pursuit of that. And I think that reconciles me to such a level that if I never said that and I was just a part of a church, I am living the same principle. So that's why that's my relationship to faith. For me, it's about how are you taking care of the people that have been put in front of you? How are you using the gifts for others? I think we're here to serve, and in that service you find fulfillment. The last thing I'll say is Jesus' example is usually one where if you watched his life, he came, got COVID and died. And he was put in a borrowed grave. By any definition, people would go, that was not a successful thing. But look at what it inspired. So I might not see the fruits of my success. I just have to believe that by following a certain principle, I am pushing against the order of the world. I am not just going along with it. So for me, faith is about how you act out the things that you believe, not, where you go every Sunday or
where you're going in the afterlife.
Yeah, because that's not my concern. If it happens,
I want Prima to join in because I know her view is more typical of our society. But let me finish. Let me finish.
There are a few things.
This problematic side.
Problematic people.
This problematic world view and viewpoint.
It's a stumbling block.
Let's finish.
It doesn't seem like wisdom. Actually, let me ask this last thing for you. Have you wondered about what everyone that you read about in the Bible was not living in a Christian?
She'll tell us at her point.
I just want to extract one thing. Everyone in the Bible.
Are you putting me in a corner?
No, I want to see your thought on this. The question that led actually to me getting to this place was, I read a book called Fear and Trembling. It was asking about Abraham, the father of the faith, who God asked to go and kill his son. Now, today, if someone said, God said, I'm going to kill my son, we would most likely say, that's not the voice of God.
Okay.
It's very hard for you to go, that's the voice of a loving God.
Okay.
So, the book is talking about what does it mean for you to believe something that is so irrational that you have to take a leap of faith.
Okay.
Now, for me, what I extract from that is the thing we're talking about career. At some point, we all want enough information that we can go, but at some point, you just have to jump. At some point, you just have to go, I'm taking the leap. Yeah. That's the thing that informs me. And for me, that it was counted unto him as righteousness. So all these people who get rewards, even when you're talking about entrepreneurs, they just took a leap. They may not have called it God, but they were operating in a certain principle that unlocks what is possible. Yeah. So I find that now in Christendom, because it has become so normal, Christianity can become a routine where I'm going to go to church, I will pray, and then I found this at my workplace. We pray for God to make our plans succeed. And I always thought that prayer was about you finding out what God wants you to do. So even in the work, you can think you are living according to God's principles, but actually what you're doing is saying, God, come and bless what we were already going to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel that the more you start thinking about what principle should I live by, you will be forced to be different. You'll be forced to ask the questions. I really
didn't want you to provoke her because now you're making her talk about her viewpoint.
No, but I also haven't had any question. So it's okay. We continue.
Joel asks you a question, gives you his answer.
Yeah.
Gives you what should be your answer.
Yeah.
Then leaves you there like.
He's behaving like the people he's talking about. That we are asking God to bless. Instead, we're not asking God for what to do or finding out what to do.
Anyway, my question is coming.
No question.
So this was my question.
You'll ask the question at her point after she has submitted.
Feed my sheep.
Wama, let us finish the problematic side of this equation. Yeah? And Bambi, bear with us. Your savior is coming. Your savior is going to talk after me. I know you have them. So I am different from Joel. I grew up totally in a Christian home, going to church, doing our prayers, generally a normal, nothing extreme, but a typical normal household. Even when we did, I also grew up in a quite cultural home,
traditional.
But progressive, traditional. Yeah. So in the sense that, yes, even if we are practicing all these cultural things.
Did you use eggs?
Did we use what?
Eggs.
They were using mandas, they are progressive, please.
No, we're progressive. We did those herbs, we had those herbs and things, but even then, it's kaya, not kaya yana.
Kayana.
It's kayayana. Kayayana.
Okay.
Not kayayana.
Do you have some skills?
Because Gandhis will come for you.
I'm sure they're already in the comment section.
We are so disappointed.
Yeah. Now they've reached this part of the show. They're like, well, now they are deleting their comments. Yeah. We've corrected it. Kayayana. But are you sure? It sounds strange. Okay. It's okay.
This has
given you poison.
It's okay. Yes. Reza and Kayan. Okay. Now. But so even then, my mom, there was always a laced Christian version of culture.
Yeah.
So that's how I grew up. And I told my mom from when I was very young that I just don't feel like I align with this way of thought. With thinking again of that extreme consequences or punishments that don't fit the crime. That there is. If someone stole sugar, we used to ask that question a lot. If I steal sugar and I kill a person, are we both going to hell? And they would tell us yes. So for me, I always had struggled, understanding, and I think that I think it's now much better where the custodians of the faith and the book are better. They are more friendly in terms of they explain. I hear them now explain things better. Yeah. They allow you to reason. They allow you to try to figure out what things mean. And yet, us before when we were younger, Blasphemy. It was just no. Don't to question the Bible is to be rendered a fool. Yeah. Don't question the Bible. That's how I grew up with that type of authoritative way of that's what Christianity looks like. Yeah. And I just did not align. But I always said that it's okay. Let me do this for the time that I have to because my mom always said, and I'll talk to her about it, and she'd say, for as long as you're
in this house.
Oh, wow. Actually, no, hers was not as long as you're in this house. She said, for as long as you're still a child, after the age of 18, you can make your choice when it comes to religion. Yeah. But for as long as you...
So you were already questioning quite
I was questioning a lot. There are things I didn't understand. There are things I typically understood and I have carried to this day. Yeah. There are things I completely did not. And they were telling us, you have to take it as it is, as this whole package.
By faith.
And it just was not registering. And because, again, my other issue was that I think we moved from 3 different churches and the 3 different preachers or so kind of explained things a little different. So you had to go with a human being who is saying things to you at the time. Yeah. The human being.
Yeah.
So I don't know, he may go and forge his own things
Yeah.
and just come and lead
Yeah.
us a flock of sheep.
Yeah.
That's why they call them ndiga, sheep, because
They
sheep just
signal
follow.
thing.
They follow, they don't question, they just move. And we have never thought of myself
As a sheep.
you know. So it really bothered me for that time, and I was like, you know what, it's fine, let me go, we sing, praise and worship,
Pumla's
we
problem.
pray.
Pumla's
By the way,
problem
me
is
only
the
going to
analogy
tell
of the sheep. She's like,
If they are said, you guys are like cats. Oh, yes.
lionesses.
lionesses.
They said they're like lionesses.
I'm the one hunting.
Yeah, there we can say yeah. But no,
You wanted to be vibed by the Lord.
yes.
you will not be a
It cannot
Doesn't
be
have a
me.
singular.
I shall not be a mule.
We are sheep.
Plural and singular, both ndiga. Also in Dugan.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, you see, just follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just whole thing, and not to say that I thought it was wrong.
Wrong. You
I
just had
did
questions.
Not align. I just
Yeah.
had so many questions, and nobody was answering them.
Yeah.
And then the few maybe who would try were not answering them in a way that they
Satisfactory.
would reach a certain point and also realize that my questions are too much
Yeah.
and are beyond them,
Yeah.
and they needed some intervention, some holy intervention, and maybe they're like, Pumla, we're done. So I when I turned 18 and I started going to camp, when I started going to school, when I went to campus, uni, is when I was like, no. And actually, even when I was in school, I had a friend who was a Muslim, and I had a term of studying the Quran. I had a friend who was a Mormon, and I took time trying to understand their beliefs.
Yeah.
When my son's father is Catholic, when my son was getting communion, I went to the Catholic church for the duration that he was doing his classes to understand what we are Catholics. I just wanted to understand there must be something right. Somebody's saying that there's something right.
Yeah.
Let me explore. Because I failed to understand how someone can say that their way is right, yet they are ignorant about the other ways of life. Yeah. So how do you decide that yours is the right way, yet you have no idea?
And it's the only way.
And it's the only way that this is the, and you have no idea what's going on in other people's lives. So maybe that's what I used to wonder. Again, I didn't think it was wrong. I just had questions. So when I moved on into adulthood, I decided, let me be able to take what I can take. So I can tell you there are two things that I realized that I still stick to are the 10 Commandments and the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah.
So I aspire to be
Covered
love,
that ox.
to be patient, to be what's that other word?
Self-control.
To have self-control.
To have self-control.
To be gentle, gentleness, love, joy, peace, gentleness, self-control. I aspire because that's how you have to live in community. I personally don't think that I needed someone maybe to teach me and guide me as a human being, but not to tell me that if I am not those things, I'm going to hell. I just needed someone to guide me and tell me this is how you live in a community.
Yeah.
This is how you show up for each other. There are people show up for you, and it gives you a nice sense of feeling of belonging, and it's great. But I also think that religion is very good for some people, because if they don't tell them they are going to fail,
they will not be able to
going to do those things on their own.
Yeah.
That's why for me, by the way, I respect religion a lot, because I know there are
It's a
people
tool.
in this world who need someone to tell them that this is going to happen to you if you don't practice this.
Yeah.
So, but me, I realize that I'm not that type of person. I am able to make those decisions and choices for myself, for people to be happy and in community. The 10 Commandments as well. You don't have to tell me that stealing is going to take away from somebody else. You don't have to tell me that killing is going to, you don't have to tell me that lying is bad. It's clear that those are things in the Bible that I should
reflect
do.
the values of society.
It's me. I like that last sentence.
Pumla, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about you don't have to be taught, right? And
no. I need to be taught.
Yeah, okay.
But
not threatened.
Not to be threatened.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking, because I remember when Joel got his crisis of faith. I remember in this house, he as in he told me, I was like, as in,
do you know what they said? Do you remember what you guys said?
This is like how old now?
Why didn't you at least become gay?
I don't even remember. After masters,
it was after when I came back and I was like, I have to tell you something.
No,
what like 2012, I think.
Yeah, because I'm like, as in, what things are these of yours?
You've been spoiled.
I remember him now beginning to ask me so many questions. He's like, as in, over what? Like, have you thought about? Anyway, just know he put me as if in a, like I was like, Joe, what do you want from me? Who has sent you? Who has sent you? Which demon from hell has, like, he put me
as an irritation.
Question upon question upon question upon question, which are questions. The truth of the matter is that, number one, I had never thought about some of those questions. But also my question for you, Pumla, was, you know that there are some, I wouldn't call it faiths, but there are some belief systems where, for example, you can kill
Yes.
for faith.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So meaning that there is, I don't want to say that there is right and wrong, but that the things have to be taught. The reason you're like, I don't need to be taught, is because you were taught. Like you don't.
No, I need to be taught.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I phrase
Okay,
it
you
badly.
need to be.
For
you
sure,
don't need to be
for
threatened.
sure, I need to be taught.
Yeah.
But I need to be taught with a reasoning.
Yeah, agreed.
This is how people need love. People were built and designed for connection.
Yeah.
If I'm built and designed for connection, then it is not my responsibility to make other people happy, but I must be accountable to a certain degree of responsibility that I make people's lives okay. That I'm not the one making their lives miserable.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not accountable for their happiness,
Yeah.
I must be accountable to know that I'm not the cause of their worries and concerns. So if you can tell me that like that,
I
would you
agree.
like it?
I agree.
What is that one? Love your neighbor as you love thyself.
Yeah.
That's the only guidance
Yeah.
I need. If someone
Maybe you
just tells
guys, both of you, I just want to
love thy
inform you that you're
neighbor
both
as you
saved.
love your-
You
Yeah,
just
but
have
you
some
see-
questions, but you're both
Let me
saved.
tell
I
you.
welcome you.
Do you know how happy I'm going to be if I end up in heaven? I'm like, even me, I'm here. Until here.
Like, as in, we are all the same.
We are
You
all the
understand,
same.
we're all the same.
Yeah, but so I think for me the
One of us is
the
different.
higher thing is that
because she will
is that
acknowledge
if I don't do it, the consequence is that I am taking away, I'm robbing from somebody their happiness or their joy or their peace or their love. I'm robbing them of fruits.
Yeah.
And it's not me. I shouldn't be doing that because love thy neighbors, love thyself. I also don't want it to be done to me.
Yeah.
That's my thought process. But not I'm going to burn.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn. No.
Let it burn.
She may do things
So
for
yeah,
the wrong
so
reason.
for me again, so my faith evolved from
Hell is on us.
things I didn't totally
Yeah.
understand to now. I just aspire to be the best version, practicing the fruits of the spirit.
Yeah.
For community's sake.
Yeah.
You guys, your president is now going to
Madame la Présidente.
Shall we start in tongues?
So, no, for me, let me tell you my story.
Kinda glorious.
Imagine so my parents were not very religious growing up. Surprisingly, my parents were really not. My parents are only recently saved, like very, very recently, but my parents were not very religious, but they believed in going to church. So that one, even my mom keeps saying, she's like, say what you wanna, but I'm the one who introduced you to that church. Like you can, So we started going to church at a very young age, like proper, And I even remember I got saved like 700 times. Like they would say, come this time I go, come this time again I go. Then at some point I said, asking myself, I'm like, Bananga, this salvation where we keep going. Tulikuchi dia, like how do I get saved? I fall. I get saved. Yeah. So I got saved quite young. I went to a Catholic school, and it was a proper Catholic school of only mass, no about what. Then we said lying that we are charismatics. So me, I was leading the charismatic. They're like
the charismatic were a little bit.
yes,
like,
until they are us.
They have praise and worship
with
guitars.
Yeah.
But then Atungonza, who has been saved from S1, how is she in the charisma? Like they were like, do not lie to us, like you silly people. So anyway, I mean that program.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, from a very young age, I've had two things. From a very young age, I was not very... I was always relational in my relationship with God. Even the way I prayed, my relationship with God has been relational. So even when Joel asked me his 100 questions, I'm like, dear, I might not have the answer whether a person has ever... I remember there's a time he asked me, have you heard of a person who has been amputated and the leg has grown back? And then I'm like...
No, I said when we went to Benny Hinn, all the things are invisible.
Do I even know?
The leg come back. What's up?
You understand, like he was now questioning everything, then he's asking me, then I'm like, but have you even ever thought about the amputated person? Like, dear, it had not come to my restituted what brain? What else?
The RAS. The RAS.
Reticular activating
Reticular
system.
system had not yet gone to amputated
Professor
people.
Naba.
So I can tell you honestly that he asked me those questions. People have asked me questions. Many questions I don't have the answers to. The answer I have is my relationship with God. I can't play with it. Like I've had a very active, very alive relationship with God. So for me, it's very, like when you ask me what these things, I'm like, I don't know. But I know even my friend Angela keeps saying, Banage, do you remember your days of after classes? Like after classes, what would be running to the lab? Me, I'd be going to the lower field in
To
Google.
do what in the lower
I'm
field?
singing my songs and praying.
Oh.
Like I've had...
Even us in our school, people used to go to the field.
What's
in the field?
No, just freedom in life. Like together, and we are communing with
Spiritual
God.
warfare.
Yeah,
Which is not telling you.
And they also used to go after, it was after dinner, before prayer.
No, you understand? So even there's some things like, let's say spiritual warfare, what if you bring for me here a demon, I
Wake
don't know
up
what
at
to
3.
do with it.
Okay.
But me and God. Yeah? Me and God. Like my relationship
I
with
get
God has
it.
been very active. the thing that you say about the church and about rules and things not being questioned and all of that, I faced it. Like at a certain point, I felt like for example, I've always liked dancing. So me, who was the first to be saved in S1 when they told us who's saved, put up your hand, I'm one of them. Now yeah, when there is a cow dance, I'm the first to go there.
Then you go when they say get saved, anyone, then you go back.
Saved again. Meanwhile, every praise and worship session, I'm crying because I danced at the cow dance. So now I am.
And yet you must go to the cow dance.
I'm like,
please explain cow dance. We have international.
Yeah, find out what a cow dance is.
But if anything, cow dance is an it's a word that it's not a Ugandan word.
Yeah.
People watching from Pakistan.
It's an English word.
We have some people from Pakistan.
Like
like when I said social, like what is this social?
Cow dance is where only girls are dancing. A bull dance is where only boys are dancing together.
Yeah. So anyway, so I would like I went through that whole, is my faith attached to what I do? You understand? Like God, you and I have such an active relationship, but there's all these things they say that I must do this, I must do this. So I really struggled for a long time about faith being like, I'm only good in God's eyes if I am doing well. And I'm like, what's that? So for me, that was my sort of crisis of faith. Like I'm out because of,
Do you love me conditionally?
Yeah, like God, you love me conditionally, until I landed on the message of grace, which I feel was even the more it has had the most impact on my faith. Like God loves me irrespective. And interestingly, because God loves me irrespective, I end up even doing dope things. You see? So for me, it has been, it's only gotten, I think that as you grow older, and there's something Joel said, that as you grow older, you sort of get more into yourself. As I've gotten more into myself, I've only gotten deeper in love with God. Like I've only, like this relationship has only gotten better. And when it comes to all these things of help, I'm like, please, if you read the Bible properly, the fruits of the Spirit, it's all about, as in you should be the change. Don't just tell your brother. It's just that there is religion, there is the church, there are human beings who are manipulated, there's all these things. I'm not going to defend. I'm not here to defend God or to defend the church. It's not my job, but to say,
find somebody else to do it.
Find someone else. But what does the Bible say? Love your neighbors, you love yourself. You understand? Like, if it's in your power to change, be the one to actually change. If it's like all these actual things for me, and by the way, even at work, when I have a problem, I'm like, God, what do you have to say about these things? And it's amazing that I'll be praying and God will give me, like, so for me, it's the whole active relationship with God, which also goes to the things that you're saying, that Atugonza, this blessing that I'm giving you, it is for who? It cannot be just for you. It should be for those outside. You see, so for me, it is
blessed
just
to be a blessing.
It's only blessed to be a blessing. So it's only gotten stronger, but it's come from the fact that it's personal. It hasn't had anything to do with they told me. The things they told me to do, I struggled with. You understand? I really struggled
The things
with.
who told you to
Like
do?
the church was saying that if you don't dance, you're going to hell.
You're listening to worldly music.
You understand? Like rule book does not work for me. Rule book
Yet
and
organized
religion
is
so for me, I
rule book.
don't know if I would call myself, if I would say religious. Yeah. People would call me religious. I don't know if I would want to identify as religious because it's almost like an institution, a system.
It is an institution.
And I don't want to associate myself. You get it? I want to say that for me, I have a relationship with God, and it's very active.
You can speak to your relationship.
I can speak to my relationship.
Not the church broadly.
I can speak to my relationship.
That's
and
very refreshing to hear.
For me, that's
You
nice.
guys are so clever.
That is
Yeah, your episode. That's why you're going to be faster and pray before.
But on that note, we have so many other aspects, but the
Man,
hour is
that
up.
time.
Yeah, the hour is up. We don't want to give the production team
a big job.
time.
Yeah.
Bambi guys, we will have another episode later,
Like this one.
later. And we'll talk about relationships.
PJ
Let's talk about
19.
relationships as its own episode.
Oh, that one's a big one to mine.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
talk about relationships
We'll
and
ask questions.
finances.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we good to close this episode?
Oh my God.
Does
But we
anybody
want
have,
we want to
potentials?
ask you something. How do you feel
Amazing.
this new year?
She's
I
about
thought-
to
I
run
thought
off.
in this chair as
Right now,
the
but
matriarch.
Kati, we need a matriarch.
you give
We're
people
going
a
to
little bit of power.
are going to bring this up.
I am the matriarch. No, she's about to start a religion.
It feels so nice to be leading this conversation.
I know, and you lead it so well.
So
But you're so good
powerful.
at it.
Oh, am I? Thank you. How did you feel on the other side?
I actually like being in the back.
Is it? You don't give off that vibe on what
Happy
theory.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pumzi. Happy birthday to you.
You. Oh, thank you, guys.
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Bambi Pumla hates this froggy, but happy birthday.
But thank you for
I'm
enduring.
really trying to be a team player.
Thank you for
guys.
enduring. We know it's not
Yeah,
easy.
vibe Pumla in one word.
What?
Vibe Pumla. She
Majestic.
hates it.
I think that's enough, guys.
You're
Yeah,
majestic.
she's about to
You're
die.
brilliant. Every time you come, you see even how her voice is going down.
Yeah, she's even looking the other side. She
Can
can
we
never
She wants
get
the
her-
world to
Guys,
end. She's like, can
Guys,
the wars
if there's
begin?
anything,
Happy birthday.
Guys, please send her message. Just tell her happy birthday in the comments.
please
Tag
don't.
her.
No.
Tell her
Yeah,
you care
This
about her.
conversation has been about mindset shift. Yeah,
Pumla,
mindset
change your
shift.
mindset.
Yeah,
about your
Pumla,
birthday.
yeah. It's about what?
What is it?
Allow us to love you. Can't you allow us to have fruit?
Yeah. Happy birthday. Anyway, you were
We have to
saying.
try
Thank you.
reverse psychology, but she's
Thank
too
you
smart.
so much, Ala. Thank you so much, Prima. Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you and I love you.
Oh, say again. Say
You love-
again.
I
Individually.
love you.
Oh, we love you
Individually, yeah.
too.
You guys, you're moving fast up in my tea of friendship.
Yay!
I want to hug her.
We are going to hug our guys.
Did you see how I'm leaning onto?
I know, Bambi. Me remember me.
Remember me when the kingdom comes.
She's like, please, I'm this side. Dear.
Okay, yeah, guys, this is PPJ. Thank you for listening to us. Remember to subscribe to our mother
We're going to put our handles here.
podcast.
That's right.
Is What the Theory.
That's
So
right.
subscribe to What the Theory, but we are PPJ. Please remember to be present in the comment section. Tell us
yeah.
about what aspects of your life, of where you have changed perspective between now and in your younger years. Until next time,
PPJ.
PPJ!